Namaste to you, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Monday edition, right here on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5, of course, the Monday edition of the Glenn Lall Show. This evening, as usual, Mr. Lall will make his presentation, after he makes his presentation, once time permits us, we will take your telephone calls and, of course, read your messages this evening. And, of course, you can join us on traditional radio or as well on our social media platforms. So I'll now hand you things over to Mr. Lall, who will make his presentation. Mr. Lall, over to you, sir.
Namaste, Josh.
Namaste to you.
Welcome, guys. We have two special guests in the studio here tonight. Just want to say namaste, guys.
Namaste.
Namaste. And just to inform you that I'm going back to live in Guyana with no phone. You hear that? I'm going back to live in Guyana with no phone whatsoever. I'm going to drink coconut water, and if I don't get absolute vodka, then I'll settle for some Banks DIH or DDL vodka, because I love vodka. Wakadam is a very quiet and easygoing place. You guys can send me a message on the radio, only on the radio, because remember I wouldn't have a phone. If you want to come and join me, spend a few days or probably a few weeks with me. I'm coming out of this busy world we're living in. It's too busy. Too busy in the cities with robberies, fires, accidents, murders, and so on. And when it is not that, the leaders talking a set of crap, signing away Guyana. I see now they're trying and tying up arrangements and agreements, proposals, deals with foreign governments and companies every second of the day, rather than fixing the core issues that affects the people of this country. Every day you open the newspapers, you see this company and that country ready to do this and to do that in our country. I saw a French company just yesterday wants to bring a cable to connect Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, and Trinidad. Guys, since independence, 1966, not a monkey wanted to come to Guyana. A matter of fact, Desmond Hoyt had to actually give away GT&T to an American company to get them to come here to revive the telecom sector. Now, the whole world running to Guyana. Yes, they're running to Guyana for y'all honey. And the other word, you know the word I'm talking about. They must be bringing in that cable to do the service with ExxonMobil and the rest of the oil companies to make more money out of our oil, shortening our share. I've been asking why our government, why our people didn't see it wise to purchase a cable for our oil. Them allow a foreign company to bring one and to make thousands of dollars out of our oil per second, shortening your share and my share. I love these bleeders for leaders we have. Don't you, Ms. Harris?
We love them.
Before I get into tonight's main issue, I just want to give you a quick heads up in crime. I talked a lot about criminal activities many times on these programs that has been taking a toll on people's lives for the last 30 years in this country. Especially these bicycle and motorbike bandits that spring up the other day, robbing people right across this country every day and every night. You guys remember the two of them that robbed one of my housekeeper last week? Both of them were accused of killing the 19-year-old electrician in Festival City for a fine gold chain the young man had on his neck. Well, let me give you news. Both of them were killed Saturday night, till in Cummings Lodge, Sapphire. The police went to the home of an aunt in Albystone Friday, looking for them, and the aunt decided to hide them. Well, it so happened the next night, both of them were shot dead by the police after they pulled a gun on the cops. The aunt is in custody right now as I speak, and she has confessed to harboring those wanted criminals. She's in the lockups and now crying for her dead nephew. Am I happy? Yes, I am. Am I sad? Yes, I am sad too. I am happy because they had no right to snatch people's belongings, especially hard-working people who are worse off than them. And I am sad because this country has too much wealth for its people not to thief. We have more than enough for the people to enjoy and have a good life. That's how much we have in this land. Another quick heads up I want to share with you guys is the Brickdam police station fire. On Saturday, we had a fire at Flatton Brickdam police station. That fire was set by a prisoner who said he was frustrated about the length of time the police had him in the lockups. That's what he said. Not Glenn saying so. When citizens are not being treated in a respectful and lawful manner, this is what happens. Not only the country loses, but its people suffer. We don't have a police station now, and another $10 billion the government will spend to rebuild a $1 billion structure. Wait, watch and see. The building they are renovating right now, the Rheinveld police station. We can't get a cost yet. I've been trying to get it. They're building a little fire station in Nandi Park where I live, and I ain't get a cost yet. They're building over the Providence police station. I ain't get a cost too. They're building schools that can be built for less than a third all over this country, and everybody's sitting down quiet. Yes, auntie and uncle, all of you quiet. These are the things that these bleeders for leaders we have has been doing in this country for the last 30 plus years to all of us. The Kaieteur News have been reporting these things since 2007 when they built an L-shaped flat school, the high school in Wakanam, where I born and grew, for $55 million. When that school could have been built at the time for less than $15 million. When I called President Jagdeo, he told me, boy Glenn, I know we are getting shaft. And I told him a few things and didn't speak back to him for 14 years. What has changed? What has changed from then to now? Nothing. It has not stopped or changed since then. A matter of fact, it got worse where contracts are concerned. Look around and watch every road project, see defense projects. Many nights and days I hold my head and say, oh mama, oh papa, Father above, help this nation. This is Guyana. And this will always be Guyana. A Guyana I want to see become the best country in this world. It has been blessed. Auntie and uncle, we're living in a blessed country. I feel it, I smell it, I taste it, I eat it. I know it. But, it's the but. And the leaders. And the leaders also know it. But they will not stop at anything to make sure you guys don't get a better life. They will not stop to make sure that you guys get a better life from the blessings that was given to you, all of us from above. The fire service is a stone throw away from the Brickdam police station, and them reached 20 minutes after the fire started, I was told. I am not blaming the fire service. I have said on this program many times that the traffic situation, the traffic congestion since the oil production began has created chaos and complete madness in and around this country, especially in the city. And President Ali and the opposition leader knows that more than me. I am not surprised that the fire service took 20 minutes to meet at a 2-minute destination. I used to take 4 minutes to reach my home from office. Today it takes more than 30 minutes. You know why, Guyana? There is no plan. There is no vision. There is no understanding of how things work or operate. President Ali wants to be seen in the limelight. He came out and made a statement how he's disappointed at the fire service. He's ready to blame the fire people and not himself and his colleagues. Past and present colleagues I'm talking about, that have us in this dilemma we face today. I just want to play this little video for you guys to hear exactly what he said. Play it for me, please.
In fire station, right? We cannot continue as a country and as a people to not address these issues. We can't continue to make investments and not have the returns on the investment. Whether it's in the public service, in the hospitals, the inefficiency has to be weeded out. If you don't want to perform public service, then do the honorable thing. Don't take a job in the fire department and believe it's a part-time job. Don't take the government assets, safety gear, and leave it home when you're an emergency worker. How much money we spent already in the last year on fire? Hundreds of millions of dollars. Hundreds of millions of dollars. And to put it crudely, you can't respond to an event in your backyard. And the response is not about assets, you know. The response is about attitude. It's about commitment. It's about discipline. It's about professionalism. It's about being in a state of readiness. Look how quickly the police responded to a challenge. Publicly putting the fire service on warning. This cannot and will not be tolerated. So the population getting snapshot of all the speculations around. People are concerned based on the threats that were made. We are going to get the international support to determine exactly what is happening.
Wow. We have to get international support to determine exactly what happened. Mr. Ali said we cannot continue as a people and as a country. Mr. President, that is what I've been saying all the time. We cannot continue as a people and as a country where we have so much wealth. And you talking about pepper, pumpkin, and bora. The people need their wealth. And when our wealth is distributed fairly and squarely, we will never have these type of issues. You know why? Because justice will prevail in this land. You will be able to attract competent police and fire workers to carry out their work competently. They don't have to worry about taking bribes or worry how and where they will be finding money to survive. You talked about inefficiency being weeded out. That's a beautiful word, inefficiency. Mr. President, inefficiency has to be first weeded out from the top where you sit. Begin with Vice President Bharat Jagdeo, Brasington, Ashley Singh, Robert Prasad, and his brother Colin Crowell, and all the rest of others. He asked Roopson Ben how much money is spent on the fire service and say hundreds of millions. Hundreds of millions spent and can't respond to a fire in the backyard 2 minutes away. Oh, Mr. President, the hundreds of millions ain't spent to bring efficiency and competence in the fire service. The hundreds of millions were spent building fire stations in which 3/4 of it was stolen through corrupt deals. It wasn't spent raising the people's salaries so they can be efficient in what they do. So they do not have to treat the work like a part-time job. Like you said, people need money to feed their children, their families. And when that is satisfied, then you will have efficiency throughout the length and breadth of Guyana in every sector, Mr. President. He said the response is not about assets, it's about commitment, it's about attitude, it's about professionalism. It's about being a state of readiness. Our president can't be serious using those words. Commitment, discipline, attitude, and professionalism. No, man, he can't be serious. Look at his attitude towards the people of this country with their wealth. And you answer me. You must call me and tell me that. Where is his professionalism, discipline, and competence to the people of this country with our wealth, Mr. Ali? Are you serious? All those firefighters should have already been living like kings with the wealth we have. Are you committed to investigate the Kaieteur and Kanji oil blocks giveaway, Mr. Ali? Are you committed to renegotiate the Exxon contract, President Ali? Are you committed to speak or to seek better terms and conditions for the people of this country to benefit from their gold, the diamond, the bauxite, the timber? Huh? What commitment you telling these people about, Mr. Ali? Commitment, attitude, professionalism, and discipline begins with you as president and with Mr. Harman as opposition leader, not the fire people. Leadership, sound decision making begins at the top with you, President Ali. He said he's putting the fire service on warning. This cannot and will not be tolerated. As a citizen of this country, Mr. President, I will not tolerate you or any one of the leaders of this nation to continue being so disrespectful to the people of this country where our wealth is concerned. I will not tolerate y'all words being used to describe my brothers and sisters of this country who doesn't deserve it. Everything this nation suffers is because of people like you and the rest of the leaders' incompetence. So don't blame the fire service. You have been part of the leadership of this country for many years. And this is what y'all incubated and cultivated. It's what you guys sow. That is what you just reap, Mr. Ali. It doesn't have to continue this way. Take advice and listen to the experts. Start making the changes from the top, and this country can become a stress-free nation overnight. You went on to talk about how you're going to get international help to determine the cause of the fire. You know, I really had to laugh and at the same time shake my head in disbelief. You should have been seeking international help to investigate the oil blocks and all the foreign contracts. You should have been asking for international help to renegotiate the lopsided ExxonMobil contract rather than a fire. We have the worst oil deals in the history of mankind. International oil experts are willing to help us renegotiate it and have been warning consistently about the danger Guyana faces down the road with this contract. Why aren't you taking help from them, Mr. President? Auntie and uncle, you guys can help me answer that question? Sir? These are very basic, simple questions I am asking. The whole of Guyana knew the night before it was a disgruntled, frustrated prisoner was set the station on fire. Wait, man. The minister of the commissioner of police didn't brief you about the cause of the fire, Mr. Ali? It's sad, eh? It's very sad. And it's get even sadder as the days go by in this land. Had he been briefed and briefed properly, he would have never said he will ask for international help to determine exactly what's happening. When you hear a president talk like that, uncle, that sends mixed message to a nation, man, it's only division. It's only division I am seeing or thinking of. It makes us more sad.
He's not in control of the country.
Those words coming from his mouth can only spread more division and hate among us. We already have it in this land. And we don't need more, Mr. Ali. If I didn't know better, and you guys didn't know better, uncle and auntie, then we would have been saying, yes, it's the opposition people them did. They did that to cause panic and more confusion in our country. His words led people to believe that. Then he says he will put the police in refrigeration containers to carry out police duties. This $1 trillion oil business we in, we have to go put police in steel containers to do police work. Could you believe this thing? Let me repeat this for the umpteen times. If we get Exxon contract change overnight, every public servant salaries can be tripled and all can be working in fancy and sophisticated office, just like the Americans, Canadians, and the British police. Also, every home can receive $1 million every month if we only get a contract change or renegotiated. Now, auntie and uncle, please let me give you guys a little of what the opposition leader, Joseph Harmon, had to say on the same fire. He gave an invited comment on the Mark Benchcap show, and this is what he said. Could you play his tape?
Sir.
Yes, Mark. Good afternoon. Yes, I'm in fact on top of it. I'm monitoring this situation very closely. In fact, I have 2 or 3 MPs who are on the ground that are actually giving me a regular update. My concern at this stage, however, will be primarily the loss of life and property, and I trust that what is happening there, that we have been able to safeguard the officers and ranks of the Guyana police force who work from that main police outpost, the prisoners who are there, who are actually held, some of them before bail, some of them even after bail, and are awaiting their day in court, the important files which prosecutors have for important cases, that those have been secured and safe. And more so, it is important that the fire is contained within the confines of the Brigdam police station, and that the fire officers who are working there, that they try to at least limit the fire to the areas that have already been gutted. I just want to say that this is a very sad situation, that it seems that every time the PVP that they're in office, some major police or government facilities go up in flames. I don't want to ascribe an improper purpose at this point.
That was the opposition leader, Mr. Joseph Harmon. Every time the PPP go in office, some fire taking place. He said he's happy they limit the fire to the compound only and save some files. This is a very sad situation, that it seems every time the PPP is in office, some major police or government facility goes up in flames. I don't want to ascribe improper purpose at this time. I don't know whether the fire has been an accident or negligence or whatever it is. I would not ascribe any purpose to it at this point in time. Today, my concern is first for the safety of those police ranks who have to work there, and the prisoners who are usually kept in the lockups. You heard his words too, Uncle and Auntie. It seems every time the PPP is in office, some major police or government facility goes up in flames. These are your leaders. What message, Uncle and Auntie? What is he insinuating there via his words? You guys tell me. You guys answer that question too. Every time the PPP in power, facility goes up in flames, without even getting the facts of the matter right. Those were his words. You guys see what is going on in this land with these leaders you have. What message is the opposition leader sending to this nation and its people? You guys should tell me. He's making a simple fire. He's making a simple fire without the facts into a political issue. He's insinuating that every time the PPP in office, bad things happen to keep us divided. It's the same thing President Ali was suggesting too. Harmon said he got 2 or 3 of his MPs on the ground, monitoring and feeding him information. Wow. He should have got all his MPs them on the ground, monitoring we gold, diamond, timber, bauxite, and now we oil. How those foreigners burning us all down, leaving our treasury with only ash, rather than sending them to monitor fire. I love this land, and I love these bleeders we have for leaders. What do you say, Uncle? You love them too?
Very much.
Huh? Yeah. Both of them. both of them should have kept their mouth shut and get the facts, then speak. But they are so bent on casting blame to divide and confuse the Guyanese people more than what we are confused, more than how we are divided. When the foreigners hear these leaders speak, they are smiling all the way to the bank every second of the day with your money. This is what they want. You remember, Uncle? They come in your country, and the first thing they do, they create confusion, chaos, instability, pushing spokes in one another's wheels. And while we fight among ourselves, they fetch away we wealth by the shiploads and plane loads. You call that divide and steal. You see how quick President Ali said he willing to bring international people to investigate? Don't be surprised if you hear the opposition get accused for setting the fire to the police station. This is what the international people did all across the world, Uncle and Auntie. They divide and steal the country's wealth. Just Google it. It's there. You don't have to take my word for it. I thought ex-President David Granger went back to Cuba to look after his health, or not in the country, because I have asked Imran Khan, who died the other day with COVID, God bless his soul, to set up a meeting between me and him. And one set of excuses he came up with. I even asked him if the man's sick and can't talk. But in my conversation with Imran Khan, I realized that Mr. Granger didn't want to meet with me to have a discussion. He is now questioning why the government putting restrictions on visa for the Asians. I am taking that story tomorrow. You hear that? He didn't want to meet with me. You haven't heard anything from him. But he just, a few days ago, he's questioning the government about the restrictions they put on the Asians. I just want you, Auntie and Uncle, to see these people's mentality, what they're thinking and how their minds work, what is important to them as leaders. The oil contract, everything that is happening with your livelihood in terms of your pockets is of no value to them. Changing this oil contract to triple your salaries is not on their agenda. Man, you gotta love this country and its leaders. Because I love them too, okay? You love them too, Ms. Harris? Yeah, man.
Trying.
There's an old saying that goes like this: for the best return on your money, pour your purse, Miss Harris, into your head with knowledge. You hear that? The best return on money is pour your purse into knowledge.
Yes.
But knowledge alone, Auntie and Uncle, is not power. When we share our knowledge, that is when knowledge becomes powerful. Now let me tell you what I really wanted to begin this program with tonight. Guyana has just begun to embark on a $1 trillion US business. Not million or billion dollar, but $1 trillion business. And we leaders holding press conferences in New York and talking about borak, pumpkin, pepper, rice and sugar. You hear me, brother? You hear what these people talking about? Wow. Lack of knowledge and understanding of how business operates or works or function leads to many countries, many countries and its people suffer. You hear me, Ms. Harris?
Yeah.
When you lack the understanding of how business operates, how it works, left many countries
Right.
to suffer. We are seeing it happening all over the world. When leaders lack the understanding to make wise decisions, what becomes of their country and its people? Since the signing of the 2016 contract, I can't remember that one single politician have come out and said to date that what Guyana really getting out of this contract. Not one of them. All we know so far through the contract is that Guyana is getting 2% royalty and a 50-50 profit sharing. But are we really getting 2% royalty, Mr. Ali? No. Transportation cost comes out from that, and we don't know as yet how much are taking out from that. It could very well be 1%, and we don't know. So you're left with 1%. The 1%, the 2% royalty, in the contract, they talked about taking out transportation costs, and yet none of us know how much they're taking out. As for the 50-50 profit sharing, the experts say for every barrel of oil sold, 75% of the cash received from the sale of it has to go towards repaying investment costs and expenses. And the remaining 25% is split equally between Guyana and ExxonMobil as profits. So each one of us get 12.5%. But hear this, Santi and Uncle. The financial experts said, because of the taxes Guyana pays for ExxonMobil and its partners, it reduces our share from 12.5% to 9% or less. What that means is Guyana not getting the 14.5%. We now stand to get less than 11.5%. This is the unbelievable and shocking news that came to my ears and our eyes just a few days ago. What's going through your mind and heads hearing this update with your oil wealth, Mr. Jai? It reduces. It reduces, Uncle. And now we are hearing this not from our leaders, from the international experts. That's how we are hearing it. And here, again, we have to be told this through a company in the US, oil experts in the US. They're looking out for us rather than our leaders. This is your bleeders for leaders we have. They're all silent. They're talking about bora, pumpkin, pepper and fine shrimp when they do open them out. Oh my gosh, this thing is getting sadder and getting sicker each day as we go by. You see why I'm going to Wakenham to live?
Yeah.
I'm getting tired of it, man. The experts pointed out, and these are leading financial institutions. They pointed out that the World Bank, the IMF and the IDB should have been the ones to point us to that. But they didn't. And they didn't care. You know why they didn't care? All they're concerned with is that Guyana find oil and they are ready to pour money at us, in which our leader will grab it up, whether we can pay it back or not. Throw money at Guyana and the bleeders will grab it up and give out more Chinese contract to build more white elephants. We're going to become worse than Africa. You remember France collecting 500 billion every year in loan repayments from Africa? That is where we will become. That's exactly where we would be come 40, 50 years when this oil is done. The man says Guyana should look carefully how they are calculating our profit share. Let me ask you guys this question. If you don't know how the other man calculate your 50% share, then what business you have there, man? What kind of business you have there?
Cake shop.
Huh? Why are you in a 50-50 partnership? This is one of the most fundamental aspects of a business, guys, which has driven me to start this radio program. I have been preaching day in and day out to look at the cost, at every penny Exxon and his partners spending, or SEDA spending. And I have been asking how much they are taking out. And guess what? We have been hearing nothing, not a single word. I've been asking how they arrive at the little profit they're throwing at us. And to date, we have not met. We have met with total silence from Mr. Ali, Mr. Jagdeo, Mr. Harmon, Mr. Granger, and Mr. Ramjatan. Uncle and auntie, silence. Silence is a badge of fraud. Don't forget that. The financial expert that did the report went further to say that the 11.5% can even be reduced further when you consider the many, many gaping loopholes the contract has. Them sell one mango and them taking out 75% of the money right away and tell you that the money is part repayment for the ladders and the basket them buy, plus pay the man who picking the mango. The $25 left is split between the two. And this will be the cycle that will continue until all the oil finish according to the contract. Did I make it simple here? Did I make it simple here, sir? Thank you. That's nothing to smile about. It's a frightening situation we in, uncle. It's not even couscous money that can feed our children, much less buy you and buy me a drink. Guys, even that couscous money, what the contract said we should get, is not coming to us. So said the report last week. The man that did the report, let me just tell you a little piece of who he is. He is the author of many studies on oil and gas, petrochemical and coal sectors in the USA and internationally. In both public and private financial companies, this man carries out market analysis on their stock, their products and services. He examined their day-to-day operations, their development and their creditability. This gentleman named Tom Zanzillo, he has vast experience in public policies and testified as an expert witness. He taught energy industry financing and is often quoted in the media. Guys, auntie and uncle, this man has 17 years of experience in senior financial and policy management positions with the city and state of New York, and was the first deputy comptroller for the state of New York. Hear more of this man. This man supervised the finances of 1,300 sections of local government. He managed 44,000 government contracts, over 200 billion US dollar worth in bonds for the state and local municipal bonds program, and the global pension fund value at 156 billion American dollars. That is the man who did our report. He is no ordinary wishy-washy person like those we have in Guyana. He's a man of stature, high caliber, and has an understanding of how the oil sector operates. And when he can say that our 12.5% reduced to 9%, you have to believe him. And your leaders is silent. The man went on to say in his report that our leaders are not telling us the truth about what we are getting from our oil, and they need to be more open with this nation and its people. That's what the man said in his report. The man says the estimated taxes Exxon had to pay Guyana for the next 5 years, listen this one, will be about 1.7 billion American dollars. Guys, that is approximately 340 million US dollar a year, almost a third of Guyana 2021 budget. I told you guys just the other day, we are living on borrow money, year go year come, and this will never stop. We borrow a third of the 2021 budget from the bank, paying fat interest to pay salaries and run Guyana. Now the figures are being placed in our faces as to what we are giving away to the oil companies free through taxes. This is business, eh, uncle? This is how you run country. Yes, by 2025, the amount we would be giving the oil players via tax breaks, the people say, is equivalent to the whole of 2021 budget. You hear that? Y'all see the kind of money leaving this land in one single aspect of this oil contract? That 1.7 billion US dollar this man talking about would have come in very well. Very, very well to pay on our 2.2 billion US dollar debt. How you like that? Not true, man? Eh? But come next year, guys, we will still be borrowing money from the banks to run Guyana and still have that 2.2 billion debt on me back. You see why I keep saying your salaries can't be increased? It is because of this incompetence and or corrupt leaders for leaders we have. I keep on saying, uncle, if we renegotiate this contract, every household can receive over $1 million a month in your houses. But, is the but, uncle? I love this place. What about you, Miss Harris?
Trying.
You're trying?
Always trying.
This is the contract. The coalition instructed Raphael Trotman to sign in 2016. And these new gurus, President Ali and Vice President Jagdeo, not changing it. They're not saying a word. You see why people got to ride around on motorcycles robbing people? It is because the bandits' assets, their fair share plus our fair share, are being depleted by the hour with lies, untruths, incompetence, corruption, and silence. When the citizens of a nation cannot get their rightful share of their own wealth, uncle, to live a comfortable life, auntie, trust me, they will have to resort to snatching gold chains, snatching tennis roll bags from people's hands to feed their families. The man's report went a little further to remind us about the lease and size of the Stabroek block given to Exxon, and say it is 100 times the size of the US Gulf of Mexico lease. And this is what he had to say. Guyana should not only be a successful country, but it will bring substantial long-term financial benefits in the form of yearly profit payments. Let me read back the piece, man. Let me tell you back what the man said. Guyana should not only be a successful country, but will bring substantial long-term financial benefits in the form of yearly profit payments. 3 years now. Where is that profit, Mr. President Ali? Where is the profit, Mr. Harman and Mr. Jagdale? All the experts talking about it. Maybe I have to call our creator. I'll call the creator and beg him and thank him for sending that gentleman to give us this type of information. Because Guyana is full of hungry citizens eating out of rubbish bins. And every hour, right across this country, people's properties are being vandalized and snatched away from them. Vehicles are being hijacked. Thank you, Mr. Zanzilo. I have to tell him, too, that our police, soldiers, nurses, teachers, and all the public servants barely taking home money at the end of the month to pay their rent and light bills only. And ask him for advice on how those people can close and feed their families. That is something I need international advice on. Or, if any one of you can help me with that question, if you can, buddy, I'd like to hear. How people going to feed? How people going to feed and clothe themselves and their children? Because the money they work for is just good enough to pay their light bill and their house rent. Walk and ask them. It is true. I have employees here. Some of them, yeah. Let me end by reminding you guys again. Our neighbor Suriname has received 62.25%. Our neighbor Brazil gets 56%. Our neighbor Venezuela, 72% as their share from their oil. Colombia has received 61% as well. The PPP, the PNC, and the AFC settled for less than 11.25% as our share. Oh my gosh. No country in this world, auntie and uncle, has settled for so little as Guyana did. Our production sharing agreement, the PSA, signed with ExxonMobil, contains a clause which allows for renegotiation of the oil contract if both parties agreed. This clause is being ignored by all our leaders. None of them are calling for a renegotiation. Why, uncle? Have they sold us all out? Huh? Besides accepting that crumbs as our shares, our leaders have allowed ExxonMobil to walk away with 600 oil blocks when the laws of Guyana only allows for 60, not 600. I am waiting to hear from all of you. The phone line will open in just 1 minute. Let me just give you a next reminder. All the African countries that had and still have oil, the masses of their population is living in extreme poverty. Nigeria is the largest oil producer in the entire African continent. Today, they are stretching their hands at the World Bank, begging for $11 billion to feed its people. Right now, their debt stands at $208 billion American dollars. And today as I speak, now as I speak, over 120 million people of their 200 million population is living with less than $1 a day. Yes, 200 Guyana dollar a day, 120 million people in that country is living with. When they say Guyana will become a Dubai, I think they were right in a sense. The new city at Ogle will be shining like the developed world, but it will be the foreign world and not our world, Guyana. The rest of Guyana will become worse than what it is today. I have seen that happen with all the oil producing countries in Africa. We have already reached that stage in which I am convinced beyond the shadow of a doubt that the leaders of this land are not working in the interest of you and me. They are working side by side, hand in hand with all these foreign companies and countries. Every single thing they do, look at it, read it, listen on it. Every decision they make benefits the foreign gurus and not us, the people who own every piece of wealth in this land. Guys, take the call.
Thank you so much.
Hold for me, Josh. Another important piece of information you need to know before I take your calls. On this oil spill. Just 2 days ago, an oil spill ended up in California. Dead birds and fishes floating up Wild West along the California beaches. The state just shut down all the beaches. The people say only 3,000 barrels of oil spilled and got the whole state of California in helter-shelter. I know for sure the oil companies will have to take care of all the costs through their insurances. When Guyana get our oil spill, yes, it will be in the hundreds of thousands of barrels, not 3,000. I want to know what will come out of Guyana. What will Guyana become? What will our neighbors become? That's a question for you, Mr. Ali and Mr. Harmon. Mr. Jagdeo is yet to secure full cover insurance to safeguard all of us. Something of this importance, I thought Mr. Granger and Mr. Harmon would have been walking down the road ringing a bell to secure, because they too, their children and grandchildren will suffer. Over to you now, Auntie and Uncle. I'm waiting for your telephone calls. And please tell us what you think about not having insurance to safeguard you.
All right.
You have any
Thank
questions
you,
there?
Mr. Lall, for your presentation. Of course, you can ask your questions to the members in studios this evening, or you can call us on 226-74.
I talk too much?
Interesting. As usual.
Someone said on Facebook,
Yeah.
if you were to run Guyana, would you become a bleeder too?
A bleeder?
Yes. I think it's a pretty
You-
self-explanatory question.
A bleeder. I was never a bleeder.
Exactly.
Never a bleeder, and I will never become a bleeder. I came from a very poor and humble background. I went to school up to Form 3 without a slipper on my feet because my parents could not afford to buy me a rubber slipper. So I used to walk on a gravel road all my life, 15 years of my life, without a slipper. And I am where I am, where nobody can point their finger at Lall and say, well, I was involved in this and involved in that, or I ever owe or steal anything from anyone. Except when I was little, you know, you hunch the people mango tree, the whitey tree, and the jamun tree. No, I could never be a bleeder. I
That's
am more of a
community
blessed
property.
human being. And I have accepted and I have learned that many, many moons ago. Yeah?
Okay.
Yes, we have a caller. You can call us this evening on 226-7453 and 226-7454. Remember when you're calling us, lower the volume of whatever device you're listening to us.
The Facebook is working?
Yes, Facebook is back up and
WhatsApp
running.
is working?
Yes, it is as well. You can, send us a message via WhatsApp or SMS to 622-2222. Those numbers again, 226-7453 and 226-7454.
Hi, you know, there's a big story brewing now. Josh,
Yeah.
a very, very huge story brewing in the world today about a new paper. You know about the Panama paper?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Panama paper has brought out some very important. You have a call?
We're all good.
You have a caller?
We have a caller here.
Hi,
Good
good night.
night. Welcome to the Glenn Lall Show.
Hi, Mr. Lall. Hello, everybody.
Madam.
Hello, Josh. How are you guys doing?
We're okay.
My first question to Mr. Lall. Why are you putting these breeders on stool? They have never ran a cake shop in their life. The first word in business is when you sign any agreement, you gotta have insurance. No one lets you on their property in America, Canada, or the Western world to do work without insurance. Rule number 1 for the Western world. So what do you expect?
He's asking about insurance.
Yes, I heard him. He says no one accepts you on their property
If you're not
without
in-
insurance.
Yeah.
And he's correct. Nobody accepts you in their premises. In a store has to have insurance.
Yeah. And
And the insurance you take for your business anywhere in the world also covers the citizens who walk on
Yeah.
the pavement.
yeah.
Man, insurance, the financial guru Ashni Singh said, every person, every business, every institution must and should have insurance.
Yes.
He went so far to say that insurance is a vital toolkit that should not be out of any business. He said so when Asura insurance company opened.
Yeah.
That was his main words in his speech
Yes.
at the opening.
We played that here.
Yeah.
And yet, it's important for them to have, for we to have
Yes.
in our homes and our business. But it's not important for the country as a whole.
For the biggest extractive
Yes.
activity in the country
Yes.
to be fully insured.
This is why you have to. This is why I see these people as hypocrites.
yeah.
This is why I can't see them as leaders. I can't address them as leaders. because they're two-head snakes. Yeah, man.
Okay.
All right,
The next
Thank
question
you.
to you, Mr. Glenn Lall. Wait, one more question before I run. Mr. Glenn Lall, if you ever decide to run for president, or if you were the president, would you have hired this man, Zanzillo, to be your advisor?
I don't have to be president to hire him. I would like to hire him now, this moment.
Okay, thank you.
I would like to hire him now, this moment. And you know what? I will go so far to even help take my money from my pocket if the government doesn't have, to chip in to bring him here. Just to advise, just to point us in the right direction, because the man is full of knowledge in the oil and gas sector. And we need people like them, especially when they're so open and frank and honest in whatever they do and say. All his reports over the last 3 years that he has put out on Guyana has been factual, has been to the point on everything he spoke about. Everything from the profit to the costs, to the calculation of our money, every single aspect of it, my friend. So you need people like them, but our leaders don't want them. Our people, our leaders want crooks to walk alongside them. There's so many things I can talk about some of the people they hired. Look, just the other day, we carried a story in which the coalition government hired Bayface. Bayface is a UK firm. That firm used to work with ExxonMobil for over 13 years. And ExxonMobil recommended them to come and review our Liza 1 and Liza 2 field development plan. Raphael Trotman had 12 other independent companies to do the job. But guess what? They give Bayshore to come and do the job. Whose interest you think that company would work for? Guyana or ExxonMobil? So this is the kind of thing that goes on. We had another one named Michael Warner from England, a British guy. He came here to review the local content policy, the draft document that our brother did in Trinidad. And he changed everything to suit ExxonMobil rather than Guyana. So this is what the leaders doing. The leaders, they're... Go ahead, take it.
Caller, good evening. Go right ahead, sir.
Hi, good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for taking my call. Last Monday, I called in, and I didn't articulate myself very well about the expense checkers on Guyana's behalf. If they could be included into the cost of oil, and I didn't explain myself properly. What I was trying to say is, if Melinda Janke or Christopher Ram or someone can look at that contract and see it's in Guyana's right to hire those people and take it out as an oil expense, even if the government don't want to do it, it'll just be another thing to point out how unwilling they are, just like renegotiating the contract, how unwilling they are to look after Guyana. I just wanted to clear that up. But the point I would like to make tonight that's been really bothering me is about Ashley Singh's lawsuit against Mr. Lall. I don't know if I have my facts right, but I think Ashley Singh was out of the country during the election. Am I right?
Yes.
And during that time, you had your reporters being attacked and intimidated by APNU's supporters. to the point where I think they came back to the studio, they were crying and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Now this man, Ashni Singh, not only did he sue you and win, and before I go any further,
It's not Ashley Singh. It's not Ashley Singh. It's Winston Brassington.
Okay, Winston Brassington.
Mm-hmm.
So Ashley Singh didn't win a lawsuit against you?
No.
No.
No, okay, so Winston Brassington. But I just want to show the callousness of these politicians, because they can very well stop. The lawsuit is one thing, but you said they were going to put your radio station, they were trying to put it into receivership, which is almost like shutting it down.
Let me explain.
Now
Let me explain.
Can I finish quickly?
Go ahead.
The reporters that were putting so much effort into that election and all the wrongdoings, if these guys had managed to shut your radio station down or put it into receivership, weren't they thinking about all these young minds like Joshua, Miss Harris, and the others, all these
Employees.
young people that you have working for you, that they would be out of a job? Are these politicians so callous? Because I know President Ali and Jagdeo, they could stop anything they have to say, no, look, listen, these young people's job is at stake. They put a lot of work in during the election. That's what exposed everything. And they were still going to put the screws to your radio station, even though these young people's jobs were in jeopardy. And okay, go ahead.
Thank you. The amount of things you said there, I can talk maybe a whole day on them. You begin by talking about Chris Ram and Melinda Janke, two fine individual. They have been making tremendous contribution, almost on a daily basis, in the oil sector, trying to educate, trying to pitch their piece into our minds, into our heads, and into our leaders who are responsible for the oil sector. They don't have to be employed. These are self-employed people. But my I just want to tell you, they have been doing a fantastic job outside. All the leaders need to do is listen and take advice. That's all. But have they been doing it? No.
Pardon?
Then you touch on Ashley Singh.
No, but I wanted to make sure. What I was saying is, if they look at that contract and they see that Guyana can hire these expense checkers, whatever they're called,
yes.
and let it be covered by the oil before profit. I don't know if it's possible, because if Exxon can hire all these people.
Hold.
Yes.
Of course we can do that. Exxon is doing that. Exxon is borrowing money. Exxon is borrowing money on Guyana and hiring the best, paying them the best to look out for their interests. But we can't do that.
In the contract, Guyana can, but they're not. But the government is not doing it. Is that what you're saying?
I should think so. I am not.
But that's why I said if Christopher Ram and Melinda Janke can check that contract, just to see if the possibility exists,
I'll let you know.
Guyana could do it.
It's a very important question you asked there. Wednesday I'm gonna get the answer for you.
Right. Now what I'm saying is, even though the politicians will be unwilling to do it, the same way they're unwilling to renegotiate the contract, at least it gives you some ammunition, something to talk about, to show the Guyanese people that here's another thing where they could they can work on Guyana's behalf, but they're unwilling to do it.
I hear you
That's what I
loud.
meant. And then about the lawsuits, maybe I was mistaken when I heard you say they were trying to close your radio station down.
All right, let me update you on that. Winston Brasington sued me 19 times through a lawyer named Timothy Jonas, and a few cases have already been tried in which $30-something million were awarded to Winston Brasington. I think it's about 7 or 8 finish, and the rest is yet to be heard. But he did a garnishment letter to the bank, and they were able to take out so far about half the money he was awarded. And they went 2 weeks ago to the court seeking to wind up the company, put the company, the newspaper company, into receivership.
What does that mean, Mr. Lall, to shut it down?
Well, it's not to shut it down, but to wind it up, to put it into receivership. And and they went to court. They went to court for that. So
You mean when they put it into receivership, would that lead to it being shut down?
no, it doesn't mean it's shut down. It means that they will run it.
They will run it.
Yeah, they will take control, full control over it. It means that I will have no say.
Okay.
All right.
See, I thought when receivership, I thought it meant they were trying to shut you down.
No, it means they will take over the business and run it. And when my lawyer informed me about the new stance they are coming with, I really smiled, and I said to him, I said, man, this is a challenge I would love to take on. I would love to take on this challenge, because this will create history in this country. You know?
Right.
And I
mistakenly thought that they were trying to shut you down, and I was thinking how callous they were to watch these young reporters, all these bright minds you have there, working diligently during the election, and then to come and shut you down and put these people out of work.
Wait.
I was mistaken.
Wait, in a sense, yes, not shut the business down, but shut me out of the business. It's me mouth they want to shut.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
It's my voice they don't want. You understand? They're tired of hearing it. I am exposing their incompetence to.
I understand.
So they can't handle that. So they were doing.
Go ahead. I keep interrupting. Go ahead.
Yeah, but and then you talked about if it will affect the reporters. It will not. The reporters will still have their job, but they will be working under them.
Okay, but the next thing is Timothy Jonas. He made my hand fall, because to take on a job to represent Brasington. And when Timothy Jonas was in your studio and he saw what you did to expose and put that election on the right track, to take on a case like that, I'm totally disappointed in him.
No, man, no.
That's my view, Mr. Lall.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
The next thing I would like to say, the last thing, I wonder where the word sanctity was with Jagdeo and Ali, and all the other politicians. Why didn't they tell Exxon about Guyana's constitution sanctity when they gave them more oil blocks than they deserve, which violated the Guyanese constitution or Guyana law? That's when they should have used that word sanctity to Exxon, saying we can't give you that many, was it oil blocks or whatever it is? You said they only deserve 60, they got 600. that's when they should have used that word.
You know,
Not
honestly,
now.
thank you. Have a good night. Honestly,
Okay, good night.
honestly, that word sanctity, that word should not be ever used anywhere. Like sometimes my hair raise on my body when I hear these leaders use that word sanctity of contract. You know, it is so disgusting. It is so sickening to tell us you giving away, you breaking the Constitution of Guyana and telling us the sanctity of contract overrides our Constitution. Man, guys, you gotta do better than that. You gotta do better than that. And you know where it's coming from? The leader's mouth. The leader's mouth. I just said 600 I'll block you. That's against the laws of Guyana. And you telling me about sanctity of contract? Come on, man. You come, and you know what that resembles, my friend? An adult walk in your home and see your little 3-year-old child sucking a sweetie. Just grab that sweetie out the child's mouth, push it in his mouth, and he take a piece of brick and put it in that child's mouth and talk about sanctity of contract. Huh? That is what Exxon did to us. And they're using the word sanctity of contract. It's so sickening. My friend, I just want to tell you, lawyers are being paid to do what they have to do.
Exactly.
And lawyers have to take the case.
Yeah.
I am not upset with Timothy Jonas for doing what he has to do. He has a client and he has to work for his client.
Yeah.
All right? So Timothy Jonas hasn't done us anything wrong. I have no qualms with Timothy Jonas. He got to do what he got to do. You know? And I got to do what I got to do. My lawyers got to do what we got to do. So, I'm getting hungry. Yeah. Guyana, I'm getting hungry. I'm getting tired.
You want something before we go? Okay, we'll take one last comment and then wrap things up this evening.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. Put on your mic.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Glenn Lall, Ms. Harris, Josh, and the rest of the crew members. It's always a pleasure listening to Mr. Glenn Lall on the radio, reading about all the commentaries in the newspapers, and it's amazing how only the Kaieteur News manages to bring out all these fascinating facts and figures, and no one else does. Is everybody else sleeping, or they're ignoring these facts, or so? You know, I like your term that you use, Mr. Lall, when you say leaders are bleeders in this country. And I'm wondering, it's been over a year now. Don't you think, Mr. Lall, that the buck should stop with the president right now? You know, you mentioned so much things about, you began with the crime situation. The police itself, they're allowing their house to burn down. It's their house that's burned down. How can, if they can't help and protect themselves, are they going to help and protect the nation at large, you know? And, you know, why is it, Mr. Lall, that we have so many high-profile police officers that are involved in this crime situation? Why is it that every now and then it's only the big guys in the police are coming out who are collaborating, and we are seeing now that why the crime situation is so high in this country? You know, I should commend Mr. Judge Kisun the other day for passing that death penalty. You know, I wonder, why is it that the government is refusing to legislate mandatory death penalty? Desmond Hoyt brought it, and look how much success he had in bringing down the crime rate. Isn't this government interested in bringing down this crime rate? Isn't this government interested in protecting the citizens? We had 50 vehicles given to the police. Can they use 25 of them to go and chase these bandits off the streets, these bicycle thieves and so forth that we have? You know, what's really going on? You spoke about the wealth distribution. Yeah. Wealth distribution for whom, Mr. Lall? The man in the street? Which year we talking about? I wonder. You spoke about the president calling for international help to go and investigate a fire. That happened at a police station right in their backyard. Come on, Mr. Lall. What are you telling the people in this nation here? You know, you have a commission of inquiry for every Tom, Dick, and Harry. Why don't we have a commission of inquiry for Mr. Raphael Trotman?
Exactly.
He sold the entire wealth of this nation out.
Exactly.
Now we're learning. We're learning about a gross earnings from the oil and wealth that we have in this country here. A gross that is now being reduced to a net. You know, maybe, Mr. Lall, it's like a gross couscous.
Yes, exactly.
And then you know what's a net? You know what they call Kaieteur? You either get or you don't get. It's the same thing. Right, Mr.
You
Lall?
hold or you don't hold. It's the same
Exactly.
thing.
Mr. Lall, don't you think the government should be interested in recruiting a guy like Tom Sanzillo?
Yes.
Over to you, sir. Thank you for
Yes.
sparing me your moment.
You have said a mouthful there. Thank you for that. Tom Zanzillo should have been one of our advisor. He should have been the advisor to the entire government and opposition. And I don't know. So I reach at a stage where sometimes I find it very difficult to churn out words to this nation to tell them what is really happening. It's mind-boggling. Like I said, that you have $1 trillion business, U.S. business, in which all of us can be filthy rich overnight. Overnight. And our leaders are not saying or doing anything. You hear them talking about pepper. You know how that thing hurt me in my soul to hear a president spending half an hour, a vice president in New York talking about pepper, boar, and pumpkin. You know, it's like what's going through these people's mind? What mindset they have? Where is this leadership quality? You know, it has all lost. Like the gentleman asked earlier, these guys haven't run a cake shop to understand the inner cycle of a business. How you buy, what you sell, what you store, what you do. They don't know anything. These are a set of confused people we have for leaders who just want to sit in a chair and every day worry and think about what is next to me, what can I get out of that, and this is how they have been behaving. You talked about people sleeping and only Glenn Lall is talking. No, it's not so. This sector is a very gigantic sector. You know, I had a trainee friend who says, Glenn, this business has $1 trillion way in which you can get robbed. And this business took many countries, 60, 70 years. Trinidad has been in the oil and gas sector for 100 years. 100 years. And last year, Trinidad found out a loophole in which they lost. They were losing a few $1 billion. And when they caught up the loophole, the Prime Minister called BP and said, come here. This year, you have to bring it back. And they were able to plug it and also recover the couple billion that went out for some time. So it's not something we can learn overnight, my friend. Every day this thing eats you. When you look at it, when you read it, and you watch what's happening, it eats my stomach every day as to what I'm seeing. I can sit down and speak all day on it. Just before we come up, we had our editorial meeting. We were talking, the meeting goes for an hour, it went almost 2 hours. with what's happening. Read some of them in the Kaieteur News tomorrow. I'll be speaking on them, from time to time. But the information is so much, right? It confuses people's mind. It confuses our reporters downstairs. It confuses me much as them. And I am a business person. I understand numbers. You know what I'm saying? So it's not an easy thing to learn. So, but I am so happy that we would have started kicking at it from the day of discovery, from 2015 when they discovered oil. I have been delving into it. That's how I exposed one of the oil blocks were given to two nincompoop who never even touched the water in the Demar River. And two oil blocks landed in their hands, Nicholas Chongasang and Julie Nelson. One of them working at GLG and Mines, and the other one was working with the Marriott Hotel. And when you ask them, hey, tell us how you get this oil block in your name, one of them said, he can't remember, it's too long now. And the other one telling you, I drive in, I'm not hearing well. Could you please call us back? They never call back. And the same oil block they received, they just transfer it to another man's name. And all this is being done with your leaders. You understand? So when you look at these things, a man get $1 billion in his hand of being a lotto, the biggest lotto the world must have ever seen. And he tell you, long now man, I can't remember. I'm not hearing well. It tells a preppy child that something is going wrong here. And you dealing with a geologist, a senior geological officer attached to the Guyana GGMC, and a senior general manager running a Marriott Hotel. And you tell me you're not here well? Every day your name is in the newspaper. And you're not responding. You're not saying anything. Wait, man, are we fools, Guyana? And all of us sit down taking these things? No, man. No, you guys don't do that. I'm getting a bit worked up, but I don't want to leave you guys worked up. I just want to say God bless you. Have a great evening. Josh?